Good afternoon, good morning, good night. Welcome back to the How Does This Work podcast. I am your host, Antoine Lance. How is everyone doing today? It is Cinco de Drinko, Cinco de Mayo, whatever you like to refer to May 5th as. We're not going to really talk about anything that has anything to do with Cinco de Mayo, but if you do celebrate Cinco de Mayo, happy Cinco de Mayo to you. Yesterday was May the 4th, so May the 4th be with you if you are a Star Wars fan. Wouldn't really call myself like a Star Wars buff, but I do enjoy Star Wars. So yeah, it is a day of the week. It is Tuesday. Days are starting to mesh together, but yeah, it's Tuesday. I think I uploaded last Friday, sure. We'll say it was Friday. Or maybe it was Thursday. I really don't remember. But I was going to upload yesterday. I was trying to do like a Monday, Wednesday thing. But then I didn't feel good yesterday. And I didn't want to do anything if I didn't feel good. Because then it just would have been crappy. So I'm going to see if I can get 2 uploaded today. And this is the first of hopefully 2. Where today I would like to talk about fitting in and whether or not I think it is good or bad, or if I'm indifferent to it. Obviously, with everything in life, there's pros, there's cons. I would like to first say, like, if you don't fit in, I wouldn't sweat it, stress it, or anything like that. There are certain things you want to fit into. Most societal things, I wouldn't waste time trying to fit into those, because 9 out of 10 times they're no good for you. I am someone who has wasted, I can't even tell you how many hours just trying to like fit into groups or fit in with people who they have no real bearing on my life. Fitting in is just one of those things that's like, oh man, it would be so easy if I could fit in here or fit in there, because you think that it'll bring something that you're missing, when in reality you're not missing anything. You're just built different. A lot of people weren't built to fit in, but they spend too much time in life trying to fit in, and then they feel awkward. But they would much rather, I guess, put themselves through that awkward, I don't really fit in here, but I'm gonna try, than just accept the fact that they're built different and they weren't meant to fit in. So like I said, I don't know if I would necessarily consider these like pros and cons to fitting in, but we'll tackle it like that. So pros of fitting in. I think if you look at it from like a friendship group, obviously I think coexisting with other people is easier if you fit in with those other people. It's kind of hard to establish a friendship or a friend grouping if you guys don't kind of fit with each other and don't have things in common. But again, I don't think a lot of times people's differences are what, I don't want to say give them worth or make them special, but people's differences can be just as important as, like if you look at 2 people and they have the same viewpoint, you're missing out on a different aspect of things. And when you have people with different opinions or different viewpoints, then you can, you have a more world-like view of a situation or whatever you're dealing with. The other pros of fitting in, I think, I don't want to say it's easier, but it's almost like, okay, on a superficial level, you'll have more peace of mind if you fit into everything, but only on a superficial level, which is never the goal. The goal is never to just, because a lot of things can seem okay on the surface, but then once you start to dig deeper, which you should always do, once you start digging deeper, you realize, I'm actually not okay with that. Let's see, what are some other pros to fitting in? You get less attention, which, depending on who you are, that could be a good or bad thing. Me personally, the least amount of attention I can have on me, the least pairs of eyeballs, the better. I don't like to be the center of attention. I'd really rather be behind. Like I want to be behind the curtains. I don't need all the eyeballs on me. Like I'd rather be, like Timberland as opposed to Missy Elliott. If you get that, you get that. If you're listening to this, you probably understand that. But yeah, like I don't necessarily want to be in the spotlight or in the limelight all the time. But so for me personally, I think, fitting in, there would be less attention on me. There's less eyes on me. There's less people watching me, which for me makes me more comfortable. For a lot of people really need that attention. I haven't really figured out what in someone's psyche or what in their, what in their brain makes them crave more attention. Like obviously, if you're a child, you want the attention of your parents. Cool, whatever. That makes sense. You're a child. Those are your providers, protectors, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, it would make sense that a child would want the attention of everyone because they're a child. They can't take care of themselves. But for me personally, like I said, I prefer less eyeballs. I don't need people paying attention to everything I do 24/7. It stresses me out, honestly. And I'm sure there are other good things that come with fitting in, but I want to focus more so on the negative side of fitting in to things. For starters, it can cause you to have less of a voice, which you're probably like, if you're fitting into the right group, then sure, you're gonna have a voice, but only if you're fitting into the right group. Like if you're in a group full of people who constantly speak up against things, constantly are using their voice to, try and affect things in a positive way, then sure, that's great. But 9 out of 10 times, that's not the case. Most of the time, you're fitting into some group full of sheep, and being a sheep isn't always a bad thing, but yeah, you're fitting into a group full of people who might witness something, but because they're just so used to the status quo of things, they don't have their voice. They can't, they don't really know how exactly to go about speaking up against things that aren't right or things that bother them, because they're in this mentality now of, oh, cool, this is the way things are supposed to be. We're just going to keep it like that. That's an everyday life thing where you witness, like there are people who witness things that shouldn't happen all the time, but they may have been raised in a situation to where you just kind of ignore certain things. Like I don't want to question the way that anyone has been brought up or raised, but I just feel like if you were raised like that, there should come a point, whether it be like late teenage, early adulthood years, where you start to look at things like that and you're like, yeah, that's not right. Because you can't just sit idly by while people get wronged or injustices happen, because that's how you end up in situations like the current state of affairs. But I won't go too much into that. That's a different soapbox. Other negative side effects to fitting in too well. You end up just kind of clinging onto other people. You don't have a developed sense of who you are as a person because you've never gone out of your way to do something different or, against the grain. And so you end up going through life and you're a husk. You're kind of a husk. Like there's something in there. We don't know what, but you've never had the experiences in life to open the husk. That's its own set of issues. It can lead to its own set of issues where like you walk around scared almost all the time, and it's like, what are you even really afraid of? Like, oh, you don't want people to judge you. People are gonna judge you regardless. Like people are gonna judge you, and some people might make fun of you. Like that happens. That's life. People suck. Not everyone, but a lot of people aren't really here for all that you getting out and doing different, because they don't know what it looks like. It's weird. It's easy to judge something when you don't know what it looks like. If you're doing something that is completely out of the norm to the people you associate with, the company you keep, then of course, if it's not what they're used to, I don't really think most of the times they're going to greet it with open arms. And again, that's not really a knock on the people that you associate with. It's just they have a mindset. They're going to stick to that mindset. That's how they were cultured that way. Like, that mindset has been cultured over time, and you can't break a mindset in overnight. Like, it doesn't happen that way. It takes time and effort and some self-evaluation that a lot of people don't want to do. Yes, more negatives to fitting in. I feel that, how can I word this properly? Okay, so for me personally, when you don't fit in, and I wouldn't necessarily consider this a con, like, for me, I guess. I mean, I guess it was, but so growing up, and even now, I still get it occasionally, but like the way I sound, I got told a lot, oh, you don't sound black. And I, to this day, don't know what that means. Like, I don't really know what it means to sound black. I'm like, would you prefer I like speak in rhymes, like I'm rapping all the time, or like, I mean, I don't know. I guess it misses me what it is to sound black. Granted, if I had to guess, I would say to quote unquote sound black is to sound uneducated, which is a farce. That's a lie perpetuated by the system. But I hate saying the system. It makes me sound like some kind of like radical or something. I'm not a radical. It's just, there's a system in place to prevent certain things. One of those things that the system is in place to prevent is the education of minorities. But again, different soapbox. But yeah, I definitely think growing up, I would hear that all the time, and to an extent now. But like I said, I don't really know what that means. Like, I'm sorry, I speak proper English. Like, I don't, and I would get that, from black people and white people. So it's just kind of like, I guess it kind of makes sense. To me, it makes sense if white people say something like that, because it's just like, yeah, you've been brought up in that. But for a black person to tell me, oh, you don't sound black, it's like, well, if you as a black person think sounding black is to sound uneducated, then like, that's an issue. Someone down the line in your life has failed to inform you that you don't have to sound uneducated to sound black. I know a lot of really, really educated, smart sounding black people, and to me, I'm like, okay, you're black, you sound a certain way. And I know some people who speak a certain way, and it's not that they're any less educated, they just speak differently. And so I'm like, what is it to sound black? And in the same vein, like, and again, I'm not white, so I wouldn't know this, but I guess my question is, do white people say to uneducated white people, oh, you sound black? Like, is that what it means? Again, like, if I had to guess, I would assume that sounding black means sounding uneducated, which again, not true at all. But I definitely think, like, as a growing child, I think hearing that a lot kind of made me second guess my voice almost. I mean, if you're speaking and you hear yourself on a recording, it doesn't matter who you are, you're going to think you sound weird. But I think as a child, I definitely thought that, oh, maybe there's something wrong with my voice, which there's not. Like, there's nothing wrong with my voice at all. It's just, I am educated, so I speak a certain way. I can't help that. And I'm not going to dumb myself down depending on who I'm hanging out with. Like, I'm going to sound how I sound regardless of who you are, or it's just a fact of life. But that whole, like, and I've seen that before too. When you talk about fitting in, I've seen people who don't speak a certain way. I've seen them when they get around other people, they speak like that to those people. And I'm like, you don't have to do all that. doesn't take all that. We can have a normal conversation. You speak how you speak, I speak how I speak. We can have a normal conversation. It can be kosher. Everything will be kosher. Everything will be gravy. I think once you start, at least once you start to, I guess, maybe get into the teenage age range. So like, 13 to 15, and even before then, like it can start earlier, like 10, 11. But I think you definitely see a focus. You see a focus on kids trying their hardest to like fit in to these groups. And like, if I could go back and give 13-year-old Antoine some advice, I'd be like just be yourself. Some people are going to accept that, and some people aren't, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you'll never be able to make everybody happy. That's impossible. You'll go absolutely crazy trying to make everybody happy. It is a fruitless task trying to please everybody, and you can either spend your life trying to please everybody and make everyone happy and let your life pass you by, or you can do what I have only recently started to do and just accept that you're different. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Being different is good. I don't want to be. It's so funny. I look back on it and it's like, I really spent a lot of time trying to be like other people. Like, I don't want to be like anybody else. I'm super comfortable being weird. But and I think it also helps when you get around other people who have the same agenda. No one's trying to change you. No one's telling you, oh, you should act like this, or you should rock this, rock that. Like, if you can be in a group of people who are comfortable enough with themselves to just kind of rock and roll however it is, then it makes it easier for you to also just be like, yo, you know what? I am a little bit different, and there's nothing wrong with that. Once you accept who you are as a person, accept your differences, like you'll start to just see differences in the way you speak and like your self-confidence. And that's a big one. I think a lot of people don't have the confidence to be themselves. Or it's not that they don't have the confidence, they haven't had that confirmation that, like, yo, you're dope. And they seek for that confirmation in all kinds of wrong places. All the wrong places. All the wrong things. All the wrong places. Telling you, I've seen it. I think we've all done it. Like, try and seek confirmation of who we are as people or what we are as people in things and in superficial things. And none of that will ever, none of that stuff that you have will ever tell you like, yeah, you're the bomb, like you're dope. God will definitely tell you like, yeah, like you're the bomb. Like, I created you to be dope and you are dope. It's such an important thing. Like, once you realize that you're a wave, you're kind of set. And I think once you can embed that in your head, dude, it's a different ball game. It's a different ball game for you. You look at things differently, you view things differently, you hear things differently. Like, it's just like, oh yeah, like, I don't quote unquote sound white, or I don't quote unquote, and this is another thing, like, I've been told before, oh, you act white, and I'm like, I don't know what that means either. Like, I don't be doing too much, so like, I'm not an actor. I don't act like anything. I'm just me. If me is white to you, then maybe you should get your eyes checked. But I just don't really know what it means to act and sound like those things. I'm literally just being myself. I'm existing. I'll get it. Like, a lot of times I hear that when I'm literally existing, not speaking, not doing anything. It's like I'm just existing, and I'm like, I mean, I guess, you call it how you call it. You call a spade, but you'd be wrong in this. I mean, you'd be wrong in this situation. But yeah, once you realize you're a wave, all that stuff doesn't even bother you anymore. It's just kind of like, yeah, okay, cool. You think you thought what? Wow, that's crazy. Well, I'm not, but like I said, it's just, once you sit, you sit down and you have that conversation with God, and you continue to have that conversation, and you start to realize like, oh yeah, you made me this. And like, a lot of times the way people act is not even like, it's not you. It's not what you were meant to be. You're just bogged down with life stuff, and the easiest way for you to try and get some of that stuff off you is you try and fit in. Like, you try and do what you see quote unquote normal people doing. But the only issue is, like, you weren't made to be normal. You weren't made to fit in. You were created to change things and like break stuff up. Go do that. Embrace that. Go break something up. But yeah, that's just my little spiel, I think is the word. Yeah, that's my little spiel on, like why I stopped trying to fit in. And like I said, it's just it doesn't make sense. Like why try and be something you're not? In that time, reaching who you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be, I think you'll find that it's a way more productive way to go about things. And I'm not saying it's easier. Fitting in is definitely easier. Like it's the easy road. It's the easy road for a reason. What's on the end of these two paths is completely different, and nothing worth having is ever easy. Like I said, that's my spiel. Hopefully this is one of 2 uploads today, because like I said, I didn't upload anything yesterday. I am on Apple Music now, so if you are listening on Apple Music, I thank you. If you're listening on Spotify, I thank you. If you could be so kind as to follow me on Twitter at __ Antoine Lance. Tweet me something. You can tweet me anything. I'll answer any kind of question, whether it be stuff like this or like random questions like, oh man, I'm bored at home, tell me an anime that I should watch. The answer to that question is Dr. Stone. It's great. But if you're listening, to whoever listened in Michigan, I thank you. I hope you keep listening. Whoever I reached in North Carolina, thank you as well. I hope you all stay safe, be blessed. I love you all. Have a great day.